It's out of my control, but it worked. Who knows if it works today? So that's why we always have to do what? Backup and recovery, try a number of different ways in which we can record. Okay, so I'm recording. This looks beautiful. I have my URL for it. I'm going to put it in my notepad. Put it here. Okay. So we have someone driving. Hopefully they're not on the steering, right? It is an issue. Okay. So any questions before I begin? Any questions? How did your group do? Um,
Oh, our group did pretty well. We all just met up and we talked about like our script and what we're gonna do at first, and then we all went to like separate locations and we actually recorded it. Just so you know, it made for better video quality and stuff like that.
okay, well, what group are you?
Group number two.
Okay, so we'll take. Do you mind if we take a look at it and give you feedback, and then this way,
That's good. Thank you. Yeah.
right? And then this way we can do before it's in. Any other questions? If there are any personal issues, let me know. I've gotten a couple of issues with groups having problems with meeting their times. What can I tell you? This class, you can see, is hands-on. Right, Tessa? The whole idea is give you as many skills as you want, and we're going to be doing it individually and as a group. You are responsible to figure out how you are going to work as a group. Daniel is not going to be a mediator, right? He's not into counseling and divorce counseling or anything like that, right, Daniel? So it's the idea that everybody's going to have to figure that out. If it's early in the morning, late, and all I can tell you is you have a week to do it, the earlier you can do it. We've had a number of things, you have to fly here, you have to go here. The beauty here is that we can collaborate anywhere where there's an internet access, you can collaborate. So just because you're flying or you're going to be somewhere else isn't an excuse. If you cannot, your group is going to be given a grade and your individuals are going to be a grade. Of course, if somebody wasn't participating in your group, they will get a worse grade, but you need to basically look as a group what you have, and your group is a way in which to bond together and help each other. I know there's issues here with coordination, but that needs, if you cannot coordinate with a group, then this is not the class for you. That's all I can say. Some people also online, I don't like online. This is not the class for you. We're online, we're going to meet in person for our exams, and we're going to learn a lot of collaborative skills and a lot of things with AI. If you don't want to be learning all those skills, there's other places to go, and I wish you the best. Okay? So that's my speech on that. So let's see what we have to share, and we'll proceed. If you have any other issues, stay with me after class. I'll try to end a few minutes early so I can address your issues, and we always say the need to know. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I share here. And Daniel is online here, so if there's anything directly for Daniel that you want to make sure you do, hopefully we can do this. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. I see everybody here. You see, Daniel, it's working well. YouTube Live, who knows what's happening next time. So I'm here. I know I'm in J. I know that I have Zoom meetings. We know that if we need to see any recordings in Zoom, that you have under cloud recordings, I record to the cloud rather than to my computer so I can share. So there's always recordings that we're able to do. And what is important is to look at what's due. So for today, we had advanced digital communication skills in a group. The audit instructions were under assignment 1. And then we had the readings of software we talked about, the adaptive assignments and the quizzes. That should be done by February 5th, right? So if I looked on February 5th, as I looked at before, under the Wiley and Adaptive, if I look at software, I see that the software adaptive assignment should have been done. I open up my assignment. I have a different role because I am in this class. I am the instructor, and I see that 9 people haven't started. I don't know why 9 people haven't started. And then I see the due date. I see the students, and I can drill down, and I see that Haley, Alex, Noah, and Sabrina and Alexa, it looks like a number of people have done it, so I'm fine with that. And then we have the multiple choice. You have 2 tries to doing that I have my assignment that I have above. So I don't think I have any issue with that. And now I have what's due. I also have something called my PowerPoints and documents. You always see that I have my PowerPoints and documents. I have it as introduction. I have hardware. I have software. I have data and knowledge management. If I go to data knowledge management, that'll be for next week. So we've done information systems, hardware, and software. The next one is this that I talk about. And if I download these, let me just move this a bit. That when I download this, I can see chapter 5 should basically, I have come up chapter 5. And what we'll be doing for some other sections are using these PowerPoints as PDF files. So it's easy to do that. I have it open for you. You can save as. And I see here the PowerPoints. So instead of PowerPoint, I want to save it as a PDF. I'll take here the 7. I don't need that 7 there. And I'll just make sure that I also know it's PDF here, right? That I have in a, I have in a PDF where I can then save it. So I know that it's saved as a PDF. And then later on, that I know that it's saved as a PDF as well. And this is about, again, we'll be talking about data, managing data, how we can do a database approach. We'll be talking about big data. We'll be talking about ways in which to store our data, to make predictions, to use to get closer to our customer, to understand our supply chain. That's on data warehouses and data marts. We'll talk about knowledge management, and we'll skip for this time, we'll skip 6 of Appendix X. I won't be going much into that. Okay, so I have here on the application software that we talked about, right? That, let me just do the clear here, right? That we talked about it then. This time that Ava, you remember this? Did we look at this last time, that the system software serves as an intermediary between hardware and functional? That I have the hardware here that we talked about, I have the system software here and the applications, and another name. And you can see underneath the slide, you have, basically you'll see it, you have a number of different notes attached to these slides. And then you can see here that we talk about software, computer programs, programming, system software, and OS. In this case, AVA stands for what?
OS.
Mm-hmm.
Open source. I don't really
That
remember.
that would be good. Yeah, the extra credit. It does. OS would be open source, but it also stands for operating system, right? So OS. Have you ever heard of like iOS, Ava?
Yes,
And that's in relation to what? What device do you have that they talk about iOS?
your phone and your Mac.
Your phone, right? Your phone has iOS, right? And your Mac Mac iOS, and you have Windows. Anybody have you heard of Windows before?
Yeah, I think I've heard of Windows.
You're right. Do you have a Windows? Have you ever used Windows as an operating
Um,
system?
no, I use a Mac right now, but
Yeah,
I've
but
heard of people
Windows
using
is
like
it
my roommate uses a Windows. Like I've seen
your
him.
roommate uses the Windows, and the idea is, let's say you're going to be in a team together, your
Mhm.
roommate, and you have Mac OS and they have Windows, and you say, who cares? And what would you say? And if you're going to be like going into an entrepreneurial type of venture together, you'd say, who cares? Does it really matter that he has Windows and somebody has Mac? And what would you say? What would you think?
Nah,
Um,
I don't think it really matters because you
it
can always
doesn't matter.
send emails back and forth. You
You
don't.
Right, you can do a lot of things together, but some software is basically, even if you use like Office, right? Some of it, and you use it on your computer, there's another version of the Mac operating system has to use different software than the Windows, even though it could be the same. Some software only runs on Mac, some software only runs on Windows. Some that you can all both of you can go to the internet, right? You can go to a browser, but there are differences here. And then there's another operating system called Linux, and Linux is what we call open source. So Ava, as she says, hey, OS stands for open source. We have something called open source, and sometimes versus it's called closed, or it's called proprietary. And proprietary, then, in this case, would mean we could have it then, AI models can be open source versus closed or proprietary. And operating systems on your computers or on phones can also be closed or open source. Open source, what do you think in this case? And I'm asking everybody in this case, Harlan, is what do you think? What does open source mean, and who cares?
It means anyone can access the code and use it for their own,
Beautiful,
whatever they
Harlan.
want to use it for.
Anyone, so it's basically the code is accessible. And many times it can, then it's accessible and additions can be made. Most people, Harlan, have you ever had any coding yourself, any programming? Harlan?
I've not. No.
Right. So for you, if we looked at the code, it would be meaningless. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Harlan, wouldn't be that much useful. But there's other people that know the code that could improve upon it. And do you remember that we talked about last week, DeepSeek?
Yep.
And what do we remember about DeepSeek?
They made an AI model like way
And was that
cheaper,
open source and closed source?
open source.
Open source. And some companies, after a week, after everybody got it, they said, hey, this is almost as good with less money. This is almost as good, or just competing on some of the other models like ChatGPT and others, right? So it's similar to that. It's open source, and other people say, you know what? They used other open source models to add upon that. So what do you think in this case? Open source, then, usually if you can gain access, then is going to be a lot of times free, or you can add on to it, or it's going to be less expensive than closed source. So the idea is we have Linux, Right here. Do you see that, Harlan? This Linux, we said that Linux is another operating system that is open source. So what's the price of a Linux operating system in general?
Would it
You
be free?
think? It's free. Mac OS, what do you think that is? Open source or closed source?
Closed source?
Mm-hmm. And what about Windows?
Um,
You're on a roll.
is it closed source, but you can
Exactly.
buy Windows?
Right. It's closed source. Who is this? This is by Apple, right? Windows is by Microsoft. And what is the idea is they say if it's closed, they charge for it. And no one else can make any additions to that. So for you, and you're happy with you have a Mac or a PC,
I have a
Harlan?
Mac.
Mac, you're happy with it, and you say to yourself, hey, I wouldn't even know what to do with the open source anyways. It's good enough for me. But in scientific communities and other things, a lot of times there are other companies that are using Linux, and who is using Linux and supporting Linux is a company called IBM. Have you ever heard of them, Harlan?
Yep.
Are they publicly traded? What do you think?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
they're publicly traded. So are they concerned about profits? They want to
No.
be profitable? Of course they
Or
do, right?
yeah.
Yeah, right. So the question is, IBM supports Linux. So my question is, Linux, you just told me is free, right, Harlan? And IBM is profit driven, right? It's not just basically an organization say, hey, we don't need any funds or anything, right? So in this case, why are they supporting Linux? How are they making any revenues by supporting Linux?
Because they don't have to pay for an operating
Right, they don't have to
system.
pay, but how are they making any money? Jared, how do you think they're making any money? Or do you want to take a stab at it, Harlan?
Are they charging people to use it?
Yes, they're charging people for support. So if you were, let's say, a drug company, and you were the CEO, Harlan, of a drug company, right? And you had a number of your, basically, for discovery of drugs, you would basically then, your group wouldn't have to pay for Linux, but you would want support. You don't want to be sitting there. You're doing your drug company. You're not in the business of supporting all this software. You don't want to hire extra teams. You'll get support from IBM. And if they give you good support, do you want to pay for it? Of course you do. So these are kind of ideas that we can think about. So even in OpenAI, have you ever heard of Dylan? Have you ever heard of OpenAI?
Yeah, I have.
What's it in relationship? What's a product with OpenAI that
I'm
you
pretty sure like
currently use?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT, right? So the question is, the name of the that group, it says, is what? It says what? It says, and you remember we dialed last time, we dialed 1-800 ChatGPT, and we spoke to a bot, right? So the question is OpenAI, this is a good one, is it open source? This would be a good multiple choice question, right? Is it open source or closed? So what do you think? Adam, what do you think? You see that OpenAI? Someone just told me that the product is ChatGPT. Adam, you've heard of it, I'm sure, right? ChatGPT. You haven't been
Yeah.
under a rock, right? And so my question is, what do you think? Is it open source or closed?
It closed.
Closed, but it says OpenAI. So why do you say that?
That's just the name of the company.
Well, the company started off, what do you think the company started off as? Open or closed, Adam?
Maybe open.
Open. And guess what? Once they became very popular, some people in the company says, hey, maybe we should make it closed because what? Maybe we can make more money on it. But you're right that it turns out to be closed. But one of the things then become with that DeepSeek is basically how did they become so relevant and basically supposedly cheaper and so forth, and the model is. But that's basically on their sources as we're discovering them. Okay, so basically, then in these operating systems, right, that I have that develop for my systems, whether it's for my hardware for my phone or it's the hardware for my IoT, my Internet of Things devices, or if it's for my computer, it has operating systems. Some of those, we talked about it. And then with that, it basically then connects to my hardware. And it basically allows me then to save files. It allows me basically to work the hardware with the software and controlling. And then I have application software that basically do tasks that we all do. So examples of application software, Anna, Catherine, would be what?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, well, let's think about it. Applications. You right now we're on the computer, right? I assume, right, Anna? Am I correct on that?
Yes, I'm on a computer.
You're on a computer. I'm on a computer. We're going through a browser, right? We're connecting. What applications are we actually now using? You logged into what? From Blackboard, right? Is that how you logged into the Zoom meeting, Anna?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what do you think Blackboard is? It's an application software. Have you used Blackboard before? Of course you did. That's an application software that you're using. And then from doing Zoom, from doing Blackboard, you went into where? What tab? Zoom meetings. You remember that? Anna?
Yes.
Right? What do you think Zoom is? It's an application software. And from Zoom, then, right now, I'm using what? PowerPoint. What do you think PowerPoint is? System software, application software?
Application.
Software. Have you use email? What is that? Application software, right? You have to write something, right? In a document, application software. You ever used Instagram?
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you think that is?
Application software.
Exactly. So you know it. You just didn't know that was the name. You know it as an app, right? Have you heard about
Yes.
downloading apps? Where do you think that is?
Yes.
That's like a shortened version of application. Apps. Got it? So a lot of
Yes.
this a lot of this stuff is not rocket science, but you just know other phrases of it. You got it? So then basically we talk about here, the software issues is open systems, right? Of operating systems and open source software. So basically these are things, and in system software, we talk about it. Mac, Windows, Mac, iOS, Linux. Turns out Linux is open source. It's a less friendly GUI. GUI stands for graphical user interface. Application software, you know what that is. Even when I do Zoom, right, and I do voice to text, speech to recognition software, voice recognition software, giving voice commands. Were you here last time, Anna?
Yes.
Do you remember Call Annie? Did we use Call Annie?
Yeah.
What do you think that is? It's an application software where it's using generative AI, it's using AI. But all of this, everything that you see on my screen is application software. And all of this, when I'm saving things and things like that, that is going to be in the background that you're not even aware of. And what's going to be important then, Tessa, is that application software sometimes it has to run with, if it's running from my phone, if I'm downloading apps to my phone or I'm downloading applications to my computer, it has to work with the operating system I have. So sometimes, basically, Tessa, there's different versions. If someone had a Samsung phone, Android phone, is they would have to go to use a different, they may be using the same app, but it's being written for different operating systems. And sometimes in a Windows operating, some software works in Windows and doesn't work in Mac. Some software works in Mac and doesn't work in Windows. You got it? And that's why you need to know. Questions? How am I doing, Tessa? Everything clear now?
Yes.
Yes, good. So now what I needed to do here in the assignment groups is you had assignments this time, right? So you're in, and Tessa, I see that you were in what? Group 1? True, false?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was in group 1 here, and in group 1 there was the, basically in this, what is this, Tessa? This says underneath the Zoom individual assignment, whose is this? So what,
I'm not sure. It's not mine.
okay, all right, it's not mine. So what you need to do in your group and in everybody's group here, Tessa, you're responsible of what's happening in your group. So if somebody has put this in and it looks like Rian, right? Olson. Is she here? Rian? It basically looks like, and here's the live stream, this should be in the Zoom individual assignment.
Oh,
So
so I should put it inside of it?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, great that you did it, but it has to just, you have to copy it in here. So this is all like clean. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
like housekeeping, right?
Okay.
So that's all. So we got the Jared and so forth. So we got the individuals, right? So then it looks like, and Tessa, you have yours. Then it looks like, how do I pronounce your name? Rian or how do I pronounce your first name?
Ryan.
Ryan. So Ryan, it looks like you didn't do it. You know what I mean? And you did.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so it doesn't take much, but we got to, and Tessa, you need to be able to see. I don't know whose that is, Tessa. Well, what can you see? First of all, she needed to put her name in. That was the problem too. But we kind of did detective work, right, Tessa? And we kind of see it, right, Jared? So everybody has to look out for everybody in your group. But I must insist that if you're not involved in your group, you will be not getting credit for it. But your entire group, it doesn't give a good appearance for your entire group. So you want to help your entire group. And what did we say? That you were in group 2?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
what we want to do? So we got here, it looks clean here, and then I go to Zoom individual, and then I see that Alex, right, and Ethan and Adam and have everything together. That's great. So the question is, when I go to this assignment that we do, and of course they have to be done on time, and I don't need to, hopefully next time I don't need to hear all the other, things. My group didn't help me, you know what I mean? We don't need to waste our time on that. But under the Zoom individual assignment here, I see there's assignment here. You need to make sure, even if you didn't upload it, who uploaded this? Your Zoom group assignment.
That would be me. I uploaded
That
it.
was who? Who's
Oh,
me?
that was me. That was me. Yeah.
You or someone
Mhm.
else?
No, I was the one that uploaded the link.
Okay, so besides you is Alex. Both Alex's and Ethan should check to see if these links work, because they could work for you in your own environment. So everybody hear me? You need to make sure that whatever you put up there, that you read it. There were some people that you want to make sure that there are no spelling mistakes, that everything is done well, right? And then you want to make sure that when you're looking at it, let's just even look at it in a new window, that he has it here, which is nice. Now you see that you have a transcript, and you can see kind of, was this you see it's Zoom meeting, right? And you can see here which is nice when they're even grading, when they sing, they say, hey, you know what? you were there, but you didn't say anything. You can easily see what you were participating in. And then I can go in right here and I can see here, let me just do that. I'm going to mute here, that I can see already that it's nice that you're sharing your screen. That's fantastic. The Zoom, YouTube Live, so I can see here, I see the guys talking. And then I can see at this point that you're looking at here, I see a bunch of guys talking, right? And then I can see here a bunch of guys talking. I'm just going through it. A bunch of guys talking. And then I see here Blackboard. And this is supposed to be my meeting to show what?
Kind of like how Zoom works and like the
Yeah,
breakout
so what am I
rooms.
missing here? On all this talk business is I want to see more screens of how to actually do it, right? Y'all are good looking, right? But besides that, right, that we want to see here, and you're kind of all thinking about it. We got something here that we're starting here that we can see some people. But I don't see Zoom. Do you?
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
You can't. We actually tried to do that, but when you are screen sharing, you can't show the Zoom.
Okay. Who's
Yeah,
speaking?
we had that issue as well.
Adam, yeah,
Perfect. It's like we rehearsed it, Adam.
yeah.
This is so great. We rehearse it. That's the issue. Zoom really can record, on my lecture, I can share certain things, but Zoom has a difficulty recording its own controls. So what is missing on this? We now know how to do a number of things, but we can't show it. So let me stop sharing. It's as if we rehearsed it. Isn't that great, Adam? That it's as if we rehearsed it. You found
So
when
great,
I asked then when I asked did you have any problems? Is it a great tutorial? Said, yeah. Well, first of all, he was happy that he got it done, right? And I kudos for that. But there are issues here. And so what is, if I think about it, Adam, we first have to know in this class, what is the problem to articulate and then try to find a solution. So Adam, you start the discussion and tell me what is the problem.
I don't know what the problem is. It's just Zoom doesn't let you screen share on.
Well,
to-
you know what the problem is. You're not just that. That's the problem. You may not know what the solution is right now, but you will. But what is the problem? So articulate what the problem is.
When you're screen sharing, you can't go on the Zoom meeting and see what you're
You
trying
don't
to share.
see all the controls. You're not able to really have it as the tutorial. You had difficulty having the tutorial when you basically are going through your recording. You don't see screen by screen what you did.
Yeah,
Am I basically, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but am I correct in that?
you are correct in that. Yes.
Okay, so that's the beauty of this class, right? It's first to do what, Jared? First is to figure out what the problem is, to be able to articulate it. So what, Adam? That we can try to find a solution. And you kind of alluded, I don't know what the solution is, but if you don't know what the solution is, guess what? One is there's a number of different avenues that we can find it, but it's hard for us to even find that solution if we can't even articulate what the problem is. Everybody with me? And that is what this class, Anna, is about. You got it? It's kind of figuring out what is the problem so I can find a solution. And you as a group, one, have to first figure out what the problem is. And if there's a recording here, basically in those challenges and solutions, people say, I didn't have a problem. Basically, that you can even add that now. That is one of your challenges. And some of you found a solution, and this is my challenge. This is my problem. So that should be even added, and you can add it now. That should be added to everybody's group, right? So Alex Bauman, do you understand? So what's the problem? Tell me again.
Oh, we have to figure out how to show the steps of
Zoom screen sharing.
Basically being able to share my screen so I can help.
Yeah.
So somebody, when they want to know how to do a poll or they want to know how to do remote control, oh, I'll just follow your screens. I'll do the same thing with you. Wouldn't you want to know that? Wouldn't you want to
Mhm.
see that? Even though you know what I mean? It's not enough to see your faces, even though, you know what I mean? We're not
Mhm.
going for the beauty contest for other things. Maybe they want to see the best looking guys at the university, but that's not what this assignment was, right? So the question is, any ideas? Dylan, now we know what the problem is, right? People were doing it. So you can even go through your steps and you don't have to listen to it. It's almost like me. I put the cursor there. I went through the line. Do I see a bunch of faces? How many screens do I get to see? And what I really want to do, it's nice to see each of your faces in the corner, but I don't want to have 5 minutes of you describing it. I want to see how to do it. And then I'll have I want everybody's faces, but just in the corner. And then sometimes maybe at the end talking about it, just like we do in sharing as a group. So who can raise your hand if you have any idea what I can do? And my other people, I don't know why you don't have your webcam on. That's part of attendance. Later on, maybe we'll do that, Daniel, if they're we've had other people where we found they were sleeping, right? So I know it's hard online, especially those of you that are laying in bed. If I laid in bed, you'd have to wake me up. You know what I mean? So that's kind of hard. So everybody needs to show their, unless they got special permission to show their faces so we can listen to what they're doing. Nirvar, what do you got? You have any ideas?
Ideas for what sort?
Do you have any ideas of how we can solve this problem? Could you share the screen?
I wasn't able to show like the Zoom thing
Right.
either.
So that's the question.
I'm
So
not
what should we
exactly sure
do?
how to, maybe you can
None of us
screen
come up
record
with
the
these
whole.
ideas. What?
You can like screen record, like the Mac can screen record by itself, right? Maybe you can do that.
That's an idea. Everybody hear what? Navar, so why don't you explain what you want? Explain it in your own words, Navar. What's a possibility is use another screen recording program on top of Zoom, and that will record Zoom screens. Because Zoom, the way it's situated, Zoom is situated on its recording to record the content, not to record its own features. So, given that's the fact, very good, Navar. So, given that's the fact, let me share my screen here. And thank you very much, It's like we rehearsed it, right? Showing issues, right? Group is showing issues here. And then it came out well, this part, right? Where somebody's screen came out, but it's the other parts that, and it recorded everybody's faces well, which is useful sometimes, but we have it. So that's the issue. So let's go back to our regular section. Tessa, do you understand? We're going back to our regular section. Our regular section. And in our regular section then, in what's due, let's look at what's due. And we know already what's due here. And what's due here, the problem was we've done it, but it wasn't good enough. Right, Navar? I wasn't able to get all those screens. And now what I want to do is be able to get our screens. So the way we can do our next assignment is getting a screen recording assignment. And one version of the screen recording assignment is, guess what, Tessa, individual. And the second part, we need to meet with our group to discuss what we found. One individual, one group. That's usually what we're going to be doing in this class is that's why your groups are essential. So in this case, where do we find the audit assignment area? How do I find the instructions then, Tessa?
In the audit assignment instructions folder.
Right. So let's go there. If it says audit assignments, I go in the audit assignment section and I see here assignments 3, screen recording assignments. This you've already done, Tessa, right? These individuals, and now I'm going to go for next week. I have assignment 3, screen recording assignments. Heidi, you with me? Good.
Yep.
So we have the individual and this. So what we need to do, Heidi, is for our next assignment, we need to find a screen recording program. And in each group, everybody hear me? In each group, I want everyone to choose a different screen recording program. And Navar, you were talking about what's in the Mac? What software program are you familiar with?
It's like built into the Mac already.
Right. And what's it called?
I don't know if there's a name to it. It's like part of the computer.
Right.
It's part of the
So
software.
what I want you to do is you got to find the name of that program, but I want everybody to pick a different one. And Navar, have you used the one that's in your computer?
Yeah, I use it a lot
recorder?
for like screens. Yeah, I use it for
Yeah, screen
screenshots and
share.
everything.
So what I'd like you to do is choose another one.
Okay.
Because what I'd like to do is that what's so great about this class is that we're going to be learning new software, right? New hardware, new types of things. So you want to put that is in your way. So in this case, under this assignment is you're going to guide you through using a screen recording software to capture screens. And one of the ways that you want to capture screens is to include Zoom. So by you using another software on top of Zoom, before even that you record Zoom, you can capture it and you can capture all the screens. So the individual should be under 10 minutes. And before you start your assignment, Navar, is everyone you need to be able, however you do it, make sure that each member of your group chooses a different program. So what I can do, let me just do this, is even you can find it using ChatGPT, you can find it versus Call Annie, you can do it any way that you need to. Basically, what you need to do on this is you want each person to pick another one. And if you're familiar with recording software like Navar, pick something that you haven't used before. And when you select, and I want it somewhere, I have a paid version, some are free. I don't want you to pay for anything. So find a free screen recording tool. There may be like a free version of it and a paid. You look for the free version. OBS is one, QuickTime is one, Loom is one, ScreenFlow is one. All you have to do is search for it. Also, what I want is dependent on what operating system you have. So if you have a Mac, you want to have it that it works with a Mac. If you have a Windows, you want to have it to work with a Windows. Some of these programs you can record that it saves to your computer, just like the MP4 that you've done in Loom. And some of them will record using the server of the software. So in this case, set it up to record your whole screen, audio and video. Start recording via the program. Do not stop recording until finished with the whole assignment. This means record with third-party recorder before entering Zoom. So you can even do that. And third-party recorder means another recording software. And then you can record when you're in it, and then you can record Zoom at the same time. And then you should basically say whether it's Windows, whether it's Mac, whether it's Linux, whether it's via browser. Mention if it's open source or closed source. Many of these are closed source. And if you don't know, mention if it records the cloud or locally. Explain the pros and cons. Showcase some of the features on Zoom. Remember, no need to record the meeting via Zoom. They can record, you know what, Daniel? I'm thinking they can record with Zoom. I would take that out. And they can record with Zoom and they can see the differences. You know, and end the recording. And then
Sorry, take which part out?
this one where it says, remember, no need to record the meeting with Zoom.
Okay, you want them to also do that?
Yeah. I think that's even better because then you can see the differences. And then the submission, depending on the software, you may have a local recording or a cloud recording, go to the audit. So in this case, for instance, I record, notice this, I record in this program, I'm recording in MSN Recorder, but I also, just look at this, I also can record, everybody looking at this, I also can record in a program. Do you see this, Dylan? You see my screen called Loom? Dylan, do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, this is Loom. So some of you may want to know, I'm using the educational version of Loom where I have unlimited amount of time. Loom for the free version, I think now they're doing 5 minutes. Sometimes that's good because sometimes you can do like a 5-minute clip. You can try different ones. See how this is Dylan. I can do full screen. I can use a camera or not. Sometimes I want to even do this just by itself and just have a little camera on the side of myself. And then what do I need to start recording? So simple, right? I just start recording. You see how the 3, 2, 1, it almost gets me prepared in case some like, and you see this on the side here? Harlan, do you see this where it has a little button here? It tells me how many seconds I have.
No, we can't see that.
You can't?
No.
So it has a little button here and you can see kind of how Loom, how Zoom doesn't share it, but I have a little knob here to tell me to do things. It has a little pen here. I can draw and things like that, but it has these little things here. And then what I can do is I can shut it off. I can say that I'm done with it. And then what I can do is after I record, I stop the recording. And Harlan, do you see when I stop the recording, do you see here ideas, shares, sign up? Do you see this? Loom. In Loom, it records on its cloud. Here's the URL where it's done. I can play it back. And now what's nice here, if I go down, I can make comments and I can include comments and I can share the link. I can make it public, just like Harlan, like I do with my YouTube recordings. I can share, and you see here the assignment. You see everybody on the side here. So this is another one in which to do it. So I have that as stop sharing. And then this is going to be everyone, you see that, Navarre, everyone then is going to choose another software program within your group that's different. And you'll choose one that it's applicable to your own operating system. Some of you, what I'd like you to do is you even do it in half ways. Some of you find ones that you can download to your computer, like Saving to My Computer. Other ones do it as saving to the cloud. And then what I want, and when I share this part, when I want to do any sharing, I can go back and go to the group part. And in your group one, your part, then you are going to, in the group recording, try to limit it as well, but each member, one is that you want to also do a Zoom, but you also want to record on top of that with your recorder software. So you record with a third party, start the group meeting, live stream to YouTube, and then present each member, show off your recording software. And then the submission. Do you tell them to try here, Daniel, to try some of the Zoom features that weren't working?
That was in the individual. If you'd like, I
The
can add to the
individual
group.
one. So in the group, I'd even do that too, if you'd like. To those of you that want, you can do it.
Yeah, I
Or
can add that really quick.
yeah, you can add that. It's to show a couple of features that weren't prepared. And those that want, you can take your original Zoom recording that was due today and make another one with these. Now you know, then, Adam, how to do it by just adding another recording software. You understand, Adam? Now you defined the problem. And now we have the solution is use what they call a recording software. And each of you in your group, Adam, will try out another software and do it individually, and then get together and explain what are the pros and cons. And
Got
then
it.
and isn't that nice that you almost said, hey, I had an issue. I found out what the issue was. And now what I need to do is, once I have this, if I go to now, basically, if I now go to my audit, right, section, I submitted, of course, Adam, where? In my audit section for that next assignment. And if I go to J, and I go to, I don't want to go to J, I want to go to J audit, right? So I want to go to J audit, where I'm going to submit. I'm going to go to assignment groups, and I'm going to look at group 0 as an example, right? I always want to look at them, and then they have the individual recording assignment. Sebastian did one. You want to make sure that this is clickable. He put the price, open source. He put the type of recording, what it can run on. He showcased it, takeaways, challenges in solutions, and Daniel did another one. Those were individuals, just like we did before. Isn't that great that we have that type of way? So if I go back to my group and I go now to my screen recording group assignment, and Ryan, you can see that you'll put it in the Zoom recording assignment. This is a little bit different. What I want is I want them just to list who was in the screen group recording assignment and just put who attended and which products you used in the front. And then under the group assignment, individual recording links, and then showcase takeaways and the group recording. And then notice here, it also has an MP4 because this is the group. So it's the time, the date, the time, the name of the, you can put even a Sebastian group. You know what, I would add a little bit, and I don't know if you can rename it, Daniel, if you have access
I
to
can.
rename it. It'd be good to say group number, you know what I mean? So Sebastian, group 5 screen recording, you know, but it may help. What do you think? So then
I'm adding it.
adding it so this way you don't have to look for it, you know, of adding that. And then you want to make sure everybody in the group want to make sure what? That it's working, right, Anna? Just because somebody uploaded it, your responsibility. This reflects the recording group assignment. You want to make sure that it works. And Anna, then you have more tools in the toolbox. As I say. Questions? Any questions in my chat? That I need to address?
Oh no, chat was pretty clear. Yeah.
Okay, and now you can see how we go step by step. Right? We tried it. You worked it out, but guess what? I didn't know. And Adam's saying, I'm not even sure what the problem is. Now he understands what the problem is. And the beauty is what, Adam? Now we can figure out, we can see, supposedly this is going to give us the solution. We don't know for sure, right, Adam? But we got a direction. And why do we want to have 4 of them? If you have 4 in a group, is you want to be able to see, have in your back pocket, oh, yours, I see the advantage of your program versus what I chose. You know, and then Navarre, everybody's using screen time. Let me try to see there are others. They may probably have advantages, right? If every recording software was the same, then why choose? It's all competition, right? Navarre, you know that competition, right? You want to be better than somebody else's. There's a lot of times there's Camtasia. You want to get the free trial, free version, see what it is. And then some of you want to try out more than one and then say, hey, this is the best, I'll show it. You know, this one. Questions? And it's due next Wednesday. So what do we want to do, Jose? Is we want to try it out quicker than not wait till Wednesday morning. That ain't going to work. Or why stress ourselves? Questions? Am I all right to go? To do attendance? And that's what we want to do, is work together, help each other. You help your group, those in your group, and you know, those that can you look at other groups? Of course you can, right? So if somebody's doing something, hey, I got an idea from them, you can even text them and say, hey, you know, thanks a lot, or we're having an issue. We want to first start off, and anything that we upload, we want to check each other, especially as a group, but also what we said before, that Ryan, if we were not sure, put it in there and put it in the correct place so you get full credit as well, and it looks good. And then you can take it with you, right, Jared? Then you can take all of these materials. It looks great. You can take it and put it in your portfolio. This is what I've gotten. Your quizzes, nobody cares about your quizzes that you're going to show somebody. Look, I got a 10. I took this twice. It was open book and I got a 10. Right? But this is what I can do for you. Hey, we got to do a poll. I don't know how to do a poll. Did you know how to do a poll before? Maybe not. So now you know, right? Or at least you can tell somebody. You don't even have to do it sometimes. Hey, you can do a poll. They say, oh, you can't do a poll. You can't do remote control. Nobody can take over my computer. Okay, so we'll do attendance. I'll do check-in. We'll put in the chat 1433. That's the check-in. We're formally finished with the class. Stay with me. If you have questions, if you have issues, we'll deal with these. Otherwise, we're looking forward for Monday to go over other material and try to figure out how we can study for the exam. Have the AI teach us how to study for the exam. Help us. So I'm stopping.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you so much.
Professor. Have a good weekend.
You too. Wow, it's weekend already, huh? Okay, so I'm going to stop recording on the cloud.